If you think your dog needs a new food, this video is for you. Now, swapping foods is one of those things that every now and then every single pet parent ponders. But in this video, we are going to go through the 10 signs that your dog needs a new food. The first one is digestive issues, or in the common jargon, an icky tummy. If your dog has recurring digestive issues, whether that's vomiting, whether that's diarrhea, whether that's discomfort, it is very important for you to assess what you are currently giving your dog. It is very, very likely there's one or several ingredients in your dog's food that are causing all these tummy problems. And so it is incumbent upon you to read the ingredients that could be causing the vomiting or the sporadic diarrhea. Always remember that if your dog looks in extreme discomfort, you should always take them to the vet first. But if your dog has a sporadic icky tummy, it is important for you to assess what you are currently giving your dog. As to what to do here, it would be very helpful for you to give them some sort of prebiotic and probiotic to feed the good bacteria in your dog's stomach. This will absolutely be a winner. Number 2 is skin and coat issues. If whenever you look at your dog's coat, it looks very flat, it doesn't have a shine, you see dandruff, and you see that your dog's condition isn't the best when it comes to their skin, it is very, very likely that your dog may have some sort of allergic reaction. It could be a sign that they are not getting the right amino acids to replenish their skin and coat. And so again, assessing the quality of your dog's food could be the best thing you can do for them. Number 3 is weight changes, and this has to do with putting weight on quite abruptly or even steady. If you feel like your dog, no matter what you feed them, carries on piling on weight, it could be a sign of 1, overeating, and 2, excess carbohydrates in their diet. Remember that excess carbohydrates turn into fat, into triglycerides in their liver, in your liver and your dog's liver. So if you eat pasta 5 times a day and you eat too much of it, you are going to convert all those carbohydrates into fat. The same thing applies to your dog. If you feed your dog high amounts of wheat gluten, high amounts of refined starches or carbohydrates, your dog's body is going to have a very hard time digesting and breaking down those carbohydrates, and they will only be stored as fat. And carrying more weight for your dog is a clear no-no in the pet world. It is bad for absolutely everything, for their joints, for their health, and for the overall demeanor. A lean dog is a happy dog. Number 4 is being lethargic, or a lack of energy. Now, if your dog, anytime they eat, goes mental for a while and then they crash, that is a clear indication that your dog's food is way too rich in high glycemic carbohydrates. You see, whenever you eat pasta or something that's really, really tasty and sugary, you get a boost in energy because all those carbohydrates get converted into sugar very, very quickly. But you then crash because those sugars are only quick sugars. If you think about porridge, for example, and oats, those have a much lower glycemic index. So if you have porridge in the morning, you will be fuller for longer because the release of energy and the absorption of the oats will be a lot slower than, say, the absorption of cornflakes. And the same thing will apply with your dog and your dog's current food. A dog food that's high and rich in high glycemic carbohydrates isn't very good for them. Number 5 is extreme and recurring allergic reactions. If your dog is constantly itching, if your dog is constantly licking their paws, if your dog is constantly having red ears and discomfort overall in their ears and overall body, it is very, very likely that there is something that you are giving your dog that is not agreeing with them. And so it is important for you to, again, read everything you give your dog, treats wise and food wise. Try to cut out anything inflammatory and try to cut out anything that's too vague. For example, natural flavors, meat and animal derivatives, or animal fats. What we want to know is precisely what we are giving our dog. And if we give our dog something like animal fats or natural flavors, your guess is as good as mine as to what we are currently feeding them. So again, that's something else to look out for. Number 6 has to do with your dog's stools. If they are sloppy, if they are runny, even if they are a bit yellowy, and that could be a sign of excess fat in their diet and potentially pancreatitis, it is incumbent upon you to check the ingredients of your dog's food, because again, your dog's food is not being digested and processed properly. So if your dog is currently having these sloppy, runny and too much discharge every time you take them out, again, that is another sign that your dog's food might need to be changed. Number 7 has to do with a pretty controversial one, and that is they turn their nose at their food. If you have a dog that's naturally picky, if you have a dog that constantly refuses their food, that might be a sign that they are not enjoying it. That might be a sign that the dog food you are presenting them with is not good quality. And whilst we always try to tell you to persist and to be strict whenever you are feeding a dog food so that your dog is not in charge of the overall situation and drives you crazy, changing from food to food to food, it is always good to check and to see whether the quality you are providing them with is good enough for them. Number 8 has to do with behavioral changes. How would you feel if you were fed an ultra processed diet, a subpar diet, day after day after day after day? Maybe your mood might not be the best. Well, the same does apply to your dog. If your dog's mood swings tend to be quite big, then that might be an indication that the quality and the nourishing of the food isn't doing its thing. Number 9 is breath halitosis. Now this is a massive one. People come to us all the time and say, my dog's mouth, my dog's breath stinks. What can I do to mitigate it? Well, you see, dogs do not have something called amylase, which is an enzyme that breaks down starches in the mouth. When you and me eat bread or rice or whatever carbohydrate, even a banana, we start breaking it down in the mouth. Dogs do not secrete, do not have this enzyme in their mouth. So whenever you give them too many starches, too many carbohydrates, their mouths cannot start breaking them down, and that causes halitosis over time and tartar to build up in their mouth. So cutting the amount of carbohydrates and overall level of starches from your dog's diet is indeed a winner and will do a lot for your dog's breath. And 10.1 is stunt growth or poor growth. If your dog or cat's growth, for that matter, is subpar and lagging behind, that could be an indication that their nourishing, that their overall health and overall digestive system isn't getting what they need to promote growth. This happened to me with my cat actually. He was a rescue and he is very, very small. He's very dinky, and he's dinky because during the first months of his life, he wasn't very well fed, and that has played a part in how he has developed. So even though he's on a really good diet nowadays, you cannot take away the poor nutrition he had when he was born. So if your dog has lackluster growth or you see signs of underdevelopment, that could always mean that your dog needs something a bit better. Now, choosing a dog food is an absolute minefield. All sorts of brands and all sorts of people are trying to entice you. They are trying to tell you that their food is best for your dog. But sometimes all it is marketing. So you have to educate yourself. Check out our podcast, which is a weekly Q&A where we answer your questions about dog and cat nutrition. And it is very important for you that you educate yourself on what the best nutrition is, because at the end of the day, they depend on us to live. Let me know what you think. Please like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.